This video presents declassified and licensed material of the Global Institute of Logic and Cybernetics.
To understand the deepest architecture of reality, we begin by viewing the universe as more than physical matter. We view it as a total computational space, a generator running every possible rule and state in parallel. This logic stems from Alan Turing's realization that any calculable function can be executed by a finite set of rules acting on discrete states. If a process is computable, it has a place in this mathematical landscape. However, Kurt Gödel demonstrated that no single closed system can capture all truths. A comprehensive model of reality would therefore require an infinite collection of systems operating simultaneously. Stephen Wolfram synthesized these concepts into the Ruliad, an entangled, infinite limit of all possible computational rules and their branching evolutions. The Ruliad is a space of total possibility. It maps every conceivable iteration of physics and logic into a single, interconnected structure. But as a model for reality, this raw computational generator is incomplete. It provides the rules, but it lacks any mechanism to anchor a specific timeline or select the stable physical laws that allow an observer to exist. When unconstrained, the Ruliad collapses into structural failures. The multi-way graph becomes a dense knot of contradictions. We see identity collapse. Distinct evolutionary paths merge into identical shapes, losing their origin. The system loses its history. This leads to trace non-conservation. During transitions, the system destroys its state history, meaning information effectively vanishes. Without trace preservation, there is no provenance. No ledger can be trusted, and no identity can persist. This results in an overgeneration of contradictory data. Valid physics coexists with non-physical, inconsistent noise, with no internal logic to separate them. Stability is a requirement for existence. Without it, there is no persistent observer and no consistent record of events, only a dissolving cloud of data. An unanchored Ruliad provides everything, which makes it indistinguishable from nothing. It is a generator of possibility that fails as a stable foundation for reality. Solving this requires the passive closure. Instead of treating reality as a product of active computation, we treat it as a residue, the specific subset of the Ruliad that survives a rigorous selection process. We begin with the Pasev Trace Principle. It enforces identity preservation, creating glowing threads of continuity that prevent information from being destroyed as the system branches. Next, Invariant Engineering acts as a structural filter. It prunes away any computational branches that violate core logic or system stability. This filtration leaves behind the digital fabric, a stable, geometric lattice of lawful computation. This state is defined by a master fixed-point equation. It identifies the fabric as the fixed point where evolution, trace preservation, and invariant selection all converge. The digital fabric is the engineered architecture of reality. It is the subset of computation where identity is conserved and laws are actually enforced. To move from theory to implementation, we rely on the certainty of first principles mathematical proofs. The trace co-limit theorem proves that identity information commutes with infinite computational systems. This ensures that trace information remains intact across system unions and quotients. Identity is never lost. It is a conserved property of the fabric. These proofs are encoded into machine-verifiable pipelines. This allows us to test the theory's structure without relying on heuristic guesses or human interpretation. When the prover reaches a goal count of 0, the logic is verified. The system is structurally closed. We have moved past the era of descriptive physics into a new standard of provable computational closure. Because the fabric is mathematically bounded, it is immune to the logical paradoxes that cause unconstrained computational systems to degrade. This mathematical closure is the basis for the CodexStation runtime, specifically version 5.1.0 of the global invariant layer. The runtime proposes and expands computational paths, mirroring the branching of the Ruliad, but every path is gated. Trace checks and invariant validation routines automatically reject any data that shows signs of corruption or identity loss. Valid states are then anchored and released. They become part of a shared, verified computational environment. Anchoring is handled by Taukrypt, a post-quantum ledger that secures the lineage of every state in the network. This architecture is designed to survive adversarial injections and network partitioning by making invariant compliance a hard-coded requirement for participation. We have successfully mapped theoretical digital physics into a quantum-secure operational network mesh. This infrastructure scales to a planetary level, providing 3 layers of stability: identity, governance, and economic fabrics. The strategic consequence is clear. Control over system invariance is the only way to ensure the stability of a reality system. This transition replaces vulnerable human trust models with invariant-based digital physics. We are moving from systems that can be manipulated to systems that are mathematically enforced. The Ruliad generates the noise of all possibilities, but only the digital fabric provides the stable reality required for civilization. The theoretical work is complete. The deployment of these invariant-based systems is already active. We have moved from unanchored computation to a controlled, executable reality. The rollout of this civilizational architecture has already begun.